Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show all of you about perspective. And so the reason that I'm outside is that what I wanted to show you is first looking at perspective outside and in an environment. And we're going to look at a few different versions of perspective because I find that with perspective, when I've taught it, it's better to explain it actually in space and then learn how to draw it, because it gives you an opportunity to actually identify what's happening in space. So that's what we're going to do first. Okay, so this street view here is in 1-point perspective. And the reason that you know that is if you look all the way out in the distance, you see like that's called the horizon line. And you follow all the angles that you see, and you'll notice that they all converge on 1 point that's in the distance. And that's what's called your vanishing point. So here's an example of a house that's in 2-point perspective. And how I know this is that if I look at all of these angles, and I start to basically make sort of like imaginary lines, I start to see that these angles all converge on a point. There's one over here, and then if I look over here, see how these angles converge into the distance, and the bottom, the bottom area by the house and the top area by the roof, they all converge. So that's the idea of 2-point perspective. And so perspective was actually discovered 610 years ago by Brunelleschi, who is an Italian Renaissance artist and architect. And artists have been using the knowledge that he discovered ever since to accurately depict the world around them. Okay, so this is my last outside example, but this is kind of one of those things I wanted to show you because even this RV that's parked on the street is following the perspective, right? So that's how consistent your perspective is going to be. Anything that's in your picture that's in space is going to follow the perspective. So that's pretty cool. If you look at those angles, they also converge on that 1 point. Okay, so now that we looked at how this works outside in actual space, let's do a quick demo on how to actually draw it. So what you always start with is your horizon line. And generally, whenever you think about perspective and you're drawing something, you want your horizon line to either be kind of top, like 2/3 up maybe, like up here, or lower, like this, where maybe you have a lot of stuff in the sky. So maybe like focus more on the ground or more on the sky. What you don't generally want to do, because it just kind of is more of a boring composition, unless there's some reason that you want to do this, is put it right in the center like that. So see how that, it just cuts it in half, and it's just generally not as interesting a composition. So just kind of keep that in mind as a rule of thumb. So again, this is your horizon. And that's always horizontal like this, just across the landscape. Now you're going to figure out where your vanishing point is. And the way to do that is, again, just to look at where all your angles are converging. And we're going to do 1-point perspective here. So our 1 point is here. And now all of our angles are going to be kind of converging on this 1 point, right? So you can do this with a ruler, but you can also do it just with, without it. It's not a big deal. And so all your lines are kind of going like this. And then you start to see like this breaks up the space. And, if you were making this landscape, maybe this would be like your sidewalk right here, right? And as it gets further away, the sidewalk pieces, whatever they're called, are closer together, up here, and then they're getting wider, as you go further out, right? Okay, so maybe you have something like that happening. You have your road in here. And a lot of times it's like you can't exactly see the point, but you can follow the angles to see where they head to. So we've got this fence, which is in the perspective. We'll quickly. So if you have angles going towards it, and then sometimes you'll have verticals. So you can still have verticals, but you won't just randomly have an angle going like down like that. Like it'll be all your angles are going to be converging here, and then you might sometimes still have verticals. So here you've got, we'll put in this fence. And again, it's getting a little bit smaller as it goes towards the vanishing point. And even if I have like a lower piece here, that's also going to the vanishing point. So it's all going to be in the perspective like that. Add in some trees from this picture that I'm drawing from. There's this big willow looking tree through here. And then the other thing is, as things are further out in the distance, they get smaller, right? So some palm trees over here in the further in. And then there's like a bush over here that's maybe a little bit. So this is just to give a quick example for you. So this one's further in the distance out here, so it's a lot smaller. So that's the other thing just to remember, you know, when things are further in the distance, they're going to be smaller. When things are closer to you, they're going to be bigger. And this is just like a little shrub right on the ground down here. That's a 1-point perspective. Okay, so now let's look at 2-point perspective. So we'll do that right here. We'll make another little box, little rectangle to do this. And again, let's put our horizon line. This time, let's make it a little bit lower. We'll make it down here. Okay, so we've got our horizon line. And now we're gonna have two vanishing points. So let's put them out here. One all the way out here. And let's put one all the way out here. Okay. And now everything is going to be going towards those vanishing points. So maybe we put some lines up like this to start, just to give a sense of what we're doing. And then you can already start to see a building take shape by just doing that really quick thing. So you have kind of a cube here, but you can quickly and pretty easily make this into a house. And so again, even like a door, let's say we're going to put a door here, the door would be in the perspective too. So our verticals are still going to be vertical, but then when we think about like the actual line to figure out what the top part we want to make sure is converging over here on this point over there. So let's make some windows again. So again, the verticals are going to stay vertical. But whenever we have any angle, so, you know, to show the example, I'm actually going to make the lines all the way. But when you actually do it, if you can use pencil and then you can erase so you don't have to, go in that direction. So it makes sense, right? That as it gets further towards that way, the windows are getting smaller there. Let's make this another building up here. So again, it would still be going towards that way. If we had a taller building over here, then maybe there's a sidewalk down here, right? So again, it would still be going towards those vanishing points down here at the bottom. Now, let's say there's a roof overhang. It would still also be going up towards like that. And then it might be hanging over like that, but it would still be going towards your vanishing points. So that's the idea. 2-point versus 1-point perspective.